What you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. We are back and better than ever. Last week, we had Erin Stellato on the show. She is a senior product manager from the Azure SQL Database Tools and Experience team. We talked about New Year's resolutions. Erin told us about the feedback on Azure Data Studio and how she reads everything that comes in and how she wants to hear more feedback from you to be able to directly influence how the product is made. Niraj hosted. Andreas won. Thursday, we had an amazing community roundtable and we featured your content. You don't want to miss a minute of those shows, so make sure to check out YouTube and all of our previous shows. If this is your first time finding us, please head over to our YouTube channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and if you want to interact with the show, it is so easy. We were streaming on a bunch of different locations on Tales from the Field on Twitter, Josh Ludeman on Twitter, Niraj Jafari on Twitter, SQL Balls on Twitter, SQL Balls over at LinkedIn, and also on our YouTube page. If you make a comment on any of those streams, one of my wonderful and amazing co-hosts will look at those comments and add them to the show. Speaking of those co-hosts, of course, let me introduce them before we go any further. We have Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, and he is living proof that Tony Stark has a heart, a walking mini arc reactor himself. Your friend and mine, Niraj Jafari. Andreas, you're the host this week, buddy. What's our topic?
Great topic today. Learning goals for the new year. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say.
I love it. Excellent. And as if it couldn't get any better than that, we are joined by Taryn Pratt. Taryn is a senior program manager on the Azure SQL VM team. She is an international conference speaker. She is prolific in her skills, known as the DBA for Stack Overflow prior to joining us over here at Microsoft. World renowned for her woodworking skills as well. I own a Taryn Pratt cutting board. I also own some wonderful coasters. So should you. So you definitely want to check those out. Taryn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, friends. Thanks for having me today. It's great to be here.
We are so happy you're here. Andreas, talk to me, Goose. You are the host. How was your weekend, buddy?
Oh, great weekend. Exercised, meditated, detoxed, and then last but not least, I unchristmased my house. Lights were put away. Christmas tree is in the dump. It's beautiful. Starts a new year.
I love the Christmas tree to the dump.
I was going to say, I was just thinking of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Andreas tossing the Christmas tree right out the front door.
Jeff.
Oh, nice. Well, I got to tell you, I had the opposite weekend of you. I ended up sleeping in. I did not meditate. I did not journal, but I did go out and have some fun with the family. My son, Zachary, celebrated his 19th birthday. We took the kids to a go-kart track and to play some video games. And then that night, we took my sister, Julie, because her 39th birthday was yesterday on Monday. We took her out to a really nice dinner at the Palm over in Orlando. It's in the Hard Rock. So just so you know, once again, Live 360, hopefully we are all together there this year. If we are, oh my goodness, one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life, tied with the one in Vegas that we had at Intersections with Bob and Bach. It was unbelievable.
We've got to be at Live 360 because it is on the illustrious and beautiful grounds of Universal Studios Orlando.
There he goes.
And I'm going to get an endorsement deal out of them yet.
I hope so, because I was looking at it and my goodness, inflation and everything. They used to be about $350 a night. Their cheapest hotel room that I could find was $750 a night for the Lowe's Royal Pacific.
And what better time to enlist a cheap voice?
Yeah.
A cheap date, guys. Sign me up.
I am so cheap. I just, give me your tiniest room. It could be a broom closet.
No, I'm not going to go that far.
Sounds
so,
enjoyable.
Andreas, he is. Oh, Josh, I was going to say, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something about Universal. You know me.
Come back to
it
it.
is
Beautiful, illustrious.
that it is the place to be in Orlando.
I agree. I don't hear beautiful the same way anymore. After hearing you for
Yeah.
months go, beautiful.
No, there's
Yeah.
You need to
nothing more
practice.
beautiful
It's
in this
practicing.
world. Nothing more beautiful in this world than Universal Studios
There we go.
Orlando, or the beautiful, illustrious, voluptuous grounds of the Lowe's Royal Pacific.
Voluptuous. That's a new one. Hey, so Andreas, the rules of the show.
Oh, rules of the show. Have you guys ever seen Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Taryn and I are the judges watching your swimming dives. We can give points. We can take away points. If you stick a triple Lindy, you get points. If you don't and you flop it, we'll take away points. Can't wait to see what you guys got for us.
That's rough. The belly flop is my only pool move.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
So let's see. We've got a guest. Let's start there. Taryn, you are on the SQL VM team. You presented at the past summit. You had some really cool and amazing announcements that you made over there. I really want to dive into your woodworking and how you got into that. But what I really want to talk about more than anything is how we can deploy a multi-subnet SQL Server availability group through the Azure portal. Talk to me about this beautiful dark magic.
Sure. Yeah, it is definitely dark magic. So basically, from inside of the Azure portal now, you can deploy end-to-end a multi-subnet availability group. And what that allows you to do is you can go in and you can create anywhere from 2 to 9 virtual machines with SQL Server installed on it. You get the failover cluster underneath, you get the listener, you get the availability group. Everything is deployed end-to-end for you. All you have to do once it's done is add some databases and you're good to go. And it is absolute magic. It's amazing. It makes the process a lot easier for customers to go out there and set that up. Right now, what it is, it's in a public preview. So please go out and use this, even if you're going to deploy it as a test environment to play around with it. If you find any issues, please reach out to me on Twitter. Let me know if there's any issues whatsoever that you have with this experience, because we're trying to work out any bugs, any problems that, or any suggestions that people have about improving the experience altogether, so that we can make it basically bulletproof, so that it can go to GA for customers and make the experience wonderful and a lot easier for them to deploy a multi-subnet AG.
And I've got a quick question of that, because the multi-subnet AG means you don't have to have a load balancer, correct?
You still need to.
The Taryn freeze.
I totally froze there. My internet just totally. Yeah. And I'm back now.
back and better than ever. There we go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No, you're okay. Sorry. So the question I had for you was, it's a multi-subnet availability group, correct?
Yes.
And so the multi-subnet does not require a load balancer, or does it still require a load balancer?
I think it requires still, right?
The load balancer is what keeps breaking.
I can hear you. But it's breaking up. So I'm not sure what's going on with my internet. So, yeah.
So does it require the load balancer?
No load balancer anymore. That's the best part. So the load balancer tends to cause issues with an availability group within the portal and on when you're working in the cloud. So a load balancer adds there's an additional failover time. There's additional complexity to a load balancer. Most of our support issues when it comes to an AG have to do with a load balancer being in the mix. So using a multi-subnet availability group removes the load balancer, and it's a similar experience to what you have on-prem, having 2 data centers for your DR. So you basically have all of your VMs, your SQL Server VMs across, each one is in a different subnet. So it's more in line with what you have on-prem, and it removes the complexity of having a load balancer, which is amazing.
So that right there, Taryn, is huge. And that's why your internet keeps blinking out.
I know.
Is because that is earth-shattering so much.
I know.
You broke the internet.
I know.
I,
Who
I,
knew?
I was going to say there's a load balancer somewhere that's like, no, she can't say we're not in this anymore.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no. Hell,
I know.
cut me
I
off.
don't know. I apologize for the internet issues. It's been fine all day, but it's decided that while I'm, actually streaming something, it's like, no, forget it.
Well,
I don't want you to
yeah.
work anymore.
And as you can see, Dan said no load balancer. Sorry, ILB, you're out of here. Now, I did have a question because, and this is something I genuinely don't know. If let's say I'm a customer and I want to have a multi-region availability group, is that something where I can also do that without a load balancer, or I need a load balancer at that point in time?
You do not need a load balancer at that point, as long as you're going multi-subnet. So if you're using a multi-subnet solution, you do not need a load balancer, even if you go across regions. And actually, we will have a new tutorial that will be out hopefully soon. It's in the process of being reviewed by docs that shows how to set up a multi-subnet AG across regions without a load balancer. So
Wow.
I'm hoping that's going to be published in probably the next week or so. I wrote it while everybody was out on vacation over the holidays. So, but that will be coming soon.
Oh, man, I got to tell you, that is so amazing. So very near and soon, we're going to have this tutorial, but right now we don't have to have a load balancer anymore for availability groups in Azure when we're setting up VMs across regions. That is massive. I love that.
There's one caveat to using a
Okay.
multi-subnet AG that most customers would need to be aware of, and most users. In order to use a multi-subnet, you have to have in the connection string multi-subnet failover equals to true. That is required. So for some customers, they aren't able to use a multi-subnet because if they aren't able to update the connection strings, let's say they have an older application and they can't change the connection strings easily, or let's say you're a DBA and you're the one making a move to Azure and you don't have the ability to make a change to an application, you may not be able to use a multi-subnet. So we still do support, load balancers. It's not like we've removed the ability to use a load balancer. We still support using a load balancer that's still available to customers who can't use a multi-subnet solution. But a multi-subnet solution is the route that we do suggest if you can make those changes to a connection string and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know I've worked with customers that have had issues with load balancers when setting up AGs before making sure that we got that configured correctly. So that's a massive thing to know if we can go down this route, as long as they can change that connection string within their application, that capability is there. That is fantastic. So it looks like you've already got a volunteer. Dan said he's willing to be a guinea pig for that one. Absolutely. Well, Dan, you know where to send the feedback.
Yes,
absolutely. All right.
So that was the big announcement that I made at PASS, is that you have the ability to go into the portal and deploy this end to end. Eventually, at this point, that end-to-end experience is only in a single region. Ideally, we want to get that deployment experience to go across regions, but there's a lot more complexity, obviously, to doing that, which is why there's a new tutorial that will be out there that will show you how to add that additional region as you need to.
Absolutely. So you could do your initial deployment within the region, because we want to have that intra-region high availability capability that we have, and you could deploy that in your template. Then when the tutorial comes out, you can add your DR region using that on your multi-subnet failover availability group. That is awesome.
Yep,
That's
that is
just
correct.
awesome to hear. Like, to hear you say that, I'm like, it's just so beautiful.
That's great. I'm glad I made you happy, Josh.
That should be the goal in all things, for everybody to make me happy.
Well, I just want to say Josh made me incredibly happy, because for this Christmas, he actually got me some Taryn Pratt coasters as one of my gifts. I absolutely love them. I've got a bunch of different coasters that I've had a friend give me 3D printed ones. I've got some wonderful Disney ones that I've picked up at different races that we've run. This has quickly become my favorite because the little legs you've got on them makes it to where they do not stick. Oh my God, I love those so much. There's one sitting next to my dad's chair right now. And every evening there's a glass of tea on it. As a matter of fact, tonight I will take a picture of it and send it to you. So that way. Yeah.
Makes me very happy to hear that people enjoy the items that I make. So, yes.
Well, and I also have an amazing board of yours. I think I'm not alone in that.
Josh does have one as well. Josh has a very large board.
Yes, I do. I have the VLDB.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, we.
Yes. Yeah. I again, I enjoy making all of that stuff, and it makes me happy to know that people like what I make. So
So how did you get into woodworking? Because I know people who are in IT who enjoy this. I've got a couple of friends who do. I know people who navigate down that route. That's not been something I'm doing, but I'm always curious. What drew you into that?
So it was kind of a fluke. We were remodeling our kitchen probably about 5 years ago now, and we wanted to incorporate some wood in the kitchen, like design. So we incorporated some maple and walnut. And then, when you're doing house projects, things tend to snowball. It's just the way that it always goes.
Natural.
And so we finished the remodel, and we were like, hey, we need a new entertainment center. But we didn't want to spend the money, and I had all this wood. And so I was like, I can make one. So I was like, I'll just make some furniture for us. So it started out making just some minor furniture around the house and stuff like that. And then I did make a couple of cutting boards. And somebody here locally in Phoenix was like, hey, can I buy a cutting board from you? And I was like, sure. I've never made one for anybody else, but sure. And I just happened to post on Twitter that I sold a cutting board, and that was the end of it for me. Things just took off like crazy. Very grateful to the sequel community, because the sequel community has been very much a huge customer of mine, and I thoroughly appreciate that. But yeah, it just kind of took off. And also the pandemic. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of hobbies outside of going to the gym, and the gym was closed. And so woodworking became like my outlet during the pandemic. And it turned into a little side business for me. So it's been fun, but it's only
So,
been a few years.
so it started out by accident with, well, not by accident, but it was, I'm going to do stuff around the house. And then
Yes.
someone saw the cutting board that you made at home and went, I want to buy one. So is it also like a Zen thing for you? I know there are certain things I really enjoy because I kind of get to tune the world out, and it gives me a sense of peace to be able to do them and then reset. I go do this, and then I can go do all the other things I have to do.
Yeah, it definitely is. Some of the items that I make more than others. Cutting boards, not so much. There's a lot of physical labor in making a cutting board and some of that stuff. But when I get to make a bowl on the lathe, that is 100% that. Because it's just, I'm taking a piece of wood and I'm shaping it in a short amount of time, and I have to like picture in my head what I want it to look like, and what I want the outside to the shape to be, and stuff like that. And so that is very, very cathartic for me, is to be on the lathe, like turning a piece of wood. And so I love doing that. So yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I got to
Backlog.
tell you, I love the quality of the bowl. Sorry, Andreas, go ahead.
No, it's Taryn Backlog. How many? I've seen your quality work, Taryn, and it's good stuff.
Thank you. I
So I'm
appreciate it.
guessing you're getting in orders left and right in the new year.
So right now, thankfully, after the holidays, I have a little bit of a lull, because I after I made Josh's board, which I think it was like June of last year, I was like, I need to start prepping for the holidays. And since I only do it on the weekends, it's I don't there's not a whole lot of time between June and December. So, because I mean, I do have a full-time job, so every single weekend until the middle of October, I worked like tirelessly trying to get stuff for the holidays. So for the holidays, I made 23 cutting boards. I made a ton of coasters. I made boards, or some charcuterie boards, some cheese slicers. I made just everything I possibly could think of that I would need for the holidays. So I killed myself basically during that short amount of time. So I'm taking a little bit of a lull right now. I'm taking some time off to kind of reset and figure out what I want to do this
The
year. Which
store is closed.
I still
Yeah.
have I still have items. I do still have things. I've got a handful of coasters still. I still have some. I've got I think a hollow form out there, because it's kind of like a vase. It's like a semi-enclosed item. I've got some bowls that are done. I just haven't posted yet. So the bowls are definitely more my cup of tea, basically, you could say. I love that. There's just so much fun to turn.
Awesome.
So
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes.
No, I absolutely love that. So, and it's also important to take a break because
Yes.
you don't want this thing that is your hobby that you zen on to become something that you don't want to do anymore.
That is true.
That's
That is true.
absolutely.
Yeah, in the middle of October when I posted everything and I'm like, everything's ready for the holidays. Go to it. I was like, okay, now I can breathe because I was tired. I was tired, but I wanted to get everything done before most people started like actually wanting to buy stuff for the holidays. So,
Right.
I mean, I strategically tried to get stuff done early so that people had the opportunity to buy.
You know, it's amazing to think of it like that, right? Because you, in order to be ready for the holidays, and there are months leading up to the holidays, you have to have that inventory ready, and you
Yes.
are a one-woman shop.
Yeah.
So,
And it takes a while to make some of these boards. Like some boards I can turn around in a couple weeks, depending. But like the board that Josh got, which is a chaos board, that was like a custom huge board. That took me probably six weeks to make because there's so many processes involved in order to do it. And again, I only have 2 days on the weekend or 2.5 days, during the week or whatever to get stuff done. So
way to go, Ludeman. Look at what you did.
Yeah, 6
Support
weeks.
that.
it's okay.
Jeez.
It's okay.
I made so you look at the negative. I sat there and I made an order of ordering her sanity. I gave her 6 weeks of Zen.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yes,
what I
you did.
heard.
Yes. Yes. And it's exhausting. And it's,
So-
I mean, it's physically exhausting to do that because there's a lot of, the sanding is like the hardest on your body
Mhm.
because of the vibration and stuff like that. But I mean, when I made like the 23 boards for the holidays, my shop was just a mess because I had so many different it felt like I had like 100 different projects going on because I had so many different things that I was trying to finish all at once.
I can only imagine because my wood shop is on the other end of my garage from my car. And
Yeah.
all I did was sand some dining room chair legs this past weekend. I washed my car on Friday. I sanded the legs on the opposite end of the garage on Saturday, and I went to get in my car Sunday, and I'm like, what the hell happened to my car? I just
Yeah.
washed the thing.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
nuts.
Yeah, it goes everywhere. Just imagine a lathe turning a bowl because
Oh, yeah.
it's spinning so fast and the dust I mean, it's just everywhere. So thankfully I have a little spot that I can put. I have my own little shop in the backyard. All the dust stays in there until I come in the house, and then it's still all over me.
That's
But
everywhere.
And if you're wondering where you can go to look at the existing inventory or look at the wonderful things that Taryn will post, look at the link right down there, TarynBuilds.com.
Yep.
And then to keep us on pace, because that's what I feel my job is on this show occasionally from time to time. Brad, we have 7 minutes left in our standard show time, and we haven't even had the competition yet.
I'm sorry, I talk too much.
Oh,
No,
Apologize.
you did
No,
not at
it's
all.
not your fault. It's
We hit
me.
everything. It's
We-
just
we've
I'm
ex-
the bad guy. You know
Yeah.
this, Taryn. We've
You
worked
had me
together
talk
enough.
about woodworking and as well as AGs, and
Okay.
I'm just going to be like, blah, 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 blah. Just
Well,
talk
and
nonstop.
I'm not going to let you shoulder it. We also let Brad talk.
True.
Oh,
That's fair.
That is true.
That's
Minus 100 points right away.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Oh, goodness.
Wow.
I got a hill to climb. Oh, I better have some good learning goals.
Whoa,
Andreas,
whoa.
you're a host. Let me
-100
turn it
to
over to you,
Brad.
buddy.
yeah.
No, to Brad. It goes to Brad because he
Okay.
talked and took too much time.
Okay,
so
never
I
mind then. I'm
apologize,
sitting here
Brad.
going, wow. Like I took it. Oh, it's not on me. Never mind. Yeah, perfect. -100. Yeah, sure.
Makes sense. It makes sense. I would
like
never want to be a
competition,
member of a
guys.
club that would have me.
Yeah, it's time to get let's tally up the points. I want to see the winner of this. Remember, style counts. If you want to do a shimmy or a shake during your presentation, Sarah and I will give points for that. I want to know what you guys are going to do to become more learned in the next year. Niraj, you're up, buddy.
Oh, so I have broken down my goals in 3 different categories. One personal, one family or thing, and the professional one. So let me start with the professional one. Definitely focus a lot on myself, learn a lot of things. Last year was more appointments, more meetings, just constantly kept on going. So learning was like down the hill. So something that I want to just make sure that I keep learning this year. Read more books. I mean, last year was really drained out because of all these meetings and other stuff. So definitely do that. Take a real vacation. That's my personal goal. Go good vacation. Go somewhere new. Explore new things. Spend more time outside. Exercise more. Getting old, probably. That's why my doctor was like, you need to start exercising more, not just stay on your chair all day. So definitely something that I want to look for it. Kids going up, so definitely pay attention to kids' needs. Go after a lot of their demands now. They pick them up, do this, do that, do this. So constantly do on that. And then the last one that I would definitely want to do is, and definitely, Tyron, I'm going to reach out to you because I'm building a house this year, so a lot of things on my plate, and to learn things. Right, every day the contractor comes up with some new things, and I'm like, "What the hell is this? I mean, what do you have to do here?" I'm just always lost in that part of it. So definitely learning more outside of my technical, like not the IT part of it, but the construction part of it. That is what I'm as a personal goal of this year is going to be.
Oh, beautiful, Niraj.
Right.
First of all, you categorized it. You can't beat that. Self-improvement, refocusing, reading, 25-25, and you're leveling your house and rebuilding it. Straight 90 points, buddy. Good job.
I'm going to
Taryn,
give an
what-
additional 50 points for the self-care that was included in your categories. You had the vacation, take time away from your desk, all of that
Exactly.
stuff. That is so, so important.
Thank you.
140, buddy. Brad, your time to shine.
Oh, so on the learning goals that I've got this year, one of the things I want to do is I want to try and round out a couple of things. I do a lot with data. I want to make sure that I'm more well-rounded when it comes to DevOps. And I'm going to be doing a lot as it works within the data realm and DevOps. So personally, I want to do a little bit more with Git. I want to do a little bit more with Visual Studio Code. I really want to make sure that I'm using ARM and Bicep templates for deployment to be able to put new things together. I've got some ideas that I really want to gain around that, but I think that's an area where I've got some room to grow, and I definitely would like to continue to grow in that area. I do love what Niraj said about the self-care. I didn't even think of that as a learning goal, but one of the things that I am doing that I've got as my goal, we talked about, transcendental meditation. I'm waking up early. I'm doing that. I think it's also really important. I'll be honest. I like the pampering. A couple times, and it's easy to let this get away from you, but I want to make sure that there's time to be able to either find a spa or go and get a massage. Whenever we go and we get a massage, especially I typically plan these around races, but I think it's really important to get those because it really helps your body adjust and tune. I'd love to get them at the beginning of a vacation because it helps the rest of the vacation go very smoothly. I want to fit that into the rest of the year though, because there are some times I feel worn down that I feel like a little bit of self-care could go a long way. So Niraj, I thank you for leading the pack on that one, buddy. I'm definitely working that in as a learning goal, is making sure that I'm de-stressing. But I think a lot of my specific learning goals are going to be around expanding my DevOps repertoire this year.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful. Taryn, where should we start with this? There's so many things to dissect.
So I'm going to equally give you 50 points for the self-care because I think that is so critical because I've worked with all of you and I know that you not necessarily the best at self-care, and I think it's important. Take it from me. I use my weekends to be away from work and and actually take care of myself. So I'm going to give you 50 points for the self-care. You still are negative, but I'm going to give you 50 for the self-care.
I'm going to bump you a little bit more, Brad, because you're getting into DevOps and VS Code, 50-50 there, which puts you, and some ARM. I mean, you can't beat that. 150, I think total, you're running out 150 right now. Niraj, you're at 140. Josh, come on, buddy. Let's see if we can triple Lindy this.
So, yeah, for me, for learning, and this is kind of dovetails into a lot of what you were talking about, and even Taryn, what you were saying about self-care and the importance of getting away from this, the work machine, not this show, but the work machine. And actually I did a little bit of it over the past weekend, went to the comic book store, dropped a lot of good money in there and picked up just some grab bags of different comics to get away from the machine, sit in my lovely reading chair right there, and catch up on some comics just to kind of see what stories pull at me. That from a self-care perspective, I'm looking at that. From a professional perspective, I've spent a lot of my career, and I think you guys and y'all on the show know me enough and know that I'm very rooted in Microsoft technologies. So I'm doing a focused effort this year to get more into the open source realm, to open up my vision, so to speak, and get into other areas as well, and kind of try to balance the scales as far as my experience across platforms, and also exercise. So I've started working myself into a routine. We're daily getting up at a decent hour, and in a decent hour, probably by all your standards is at least on my scale is 7 a.m. And so I'm getting up at 7, do my thing, go over, do a ride on the Peloton, maybe 20, maybe 30, not always a spin class. Sometimes it's one of the nice leisurely rides through. The other one I did over the weekend was Hawaii. I went, through Hawaii.
Yeah.
It did do a little bit of changing in the resistance and stuff like that. So I got hills and things like that, but nothing like sitting there hammering on me, go, go, go. Cause that's what ends up turning me off. I'm like, stop yelling at me. And then I just stop. Personally though, for me, this isn't something I talk about very often, but I never finished my college degree back in the day. And I'm now within less than a full-time semester from finishing my associates. So by the end of the calendar year, I will have my associate's degree. I've got some classes to take this summer and then the fall semester. So I'll end the year with that. So yeah, that's my learning.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
Spirit,
exceptional.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I there's a few that I'm gonna point out. So obviously, because I've been equal across the board, you're gonna get 50 for the self-care from me. But because you and I have talked so many times, Josh, you're gonna get 100 points from me because you corrected you guys to y'all, and that is a lot of learning for you. So I appreciate that beyond belief. And I'm gonna give you 1,000 points for the associates because that's amazing. That's just
Whoa.
Wow.
So you're
Wow.
gonna get
Way
that
to
from
go,
me.
Josh.
So
Way to
Suck
go.
it, Brad.
I'm going to give you 1 point for making people happy. 1 point. Yeah.
Huh?
1 point for making people happy. You made
1
Brad
point?
happy
Yeah.
at the beginning of the
Yeah,
show.
I'm ecstatic, man. I am so excited about you getting the associates. I know that's been something on your bucket list for a long time. I love the fact that you have been setting like a low and slow, because most people go exercise too hard, they kill themselves. Like I'm guilty of that. But I love it that you're taking it easy and you're making those changes. And those Peloton rides, I did one when I was at Disney World. I hopped on to one of their bikes and I made an account. I love the rides through the different terrain. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hawaii's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it took me 10, to be fair, and it took me 10 or 15 times of trying to get on the exercise animal, so to speak, and trying to go too hard, working myself into a pile of pain, and then walking away and not doing it again for another 2-3 years. It took me 10 times, but I finally figured it out. So yeah, it's that's the way to go for me. I can't sit there and just beat on it and hammer. I got to ease in.
Hey Josh, quick question. Is it really hard studying along with your full-time job? I mean,
but you basically
how did
because
you
I've
feel
done
like?
other classes. I've done classes before. You basically lose a social life
Hmm.
in a lot of ways, because you finish your work day and you're like, okay, now I've got 3 hours of coursework to do, and then that's after dinner. And then, you get done with 3 hours of coursework and it's 10 o'clock at night. And you're like, okay, I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. And then you rinse and repeat that. So that's honestly a lot of it. And then if you take a night off, you just understand that you're going to have to recoup it on Saturday or Sunday. So it's a lot of work. But I'm looking forward to the reward.
And Dan
It's
chimed
also
in,
gonna be-
AA degree is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations, Josh.
Yeah, that's
Thank
awesome,
you.
Josh.
Now, the one thing that is the awkwardness I'm going to introduce is my oldest daughter is a freshman at University of Central Florida. So we'll be taking some classes at the same time because I'll be finishing off my
See you later, you.
It's going to be so weird. To be fair, and I've again, not something I brag about publicly, as you can imagine, she was certified in Microsoft products before I was.
Good for her.
She got a
That's okay.
PowerPoint
I mean,
and a Word cert before I got my first cert, and I was working at Microsoft at the time.
She's my adopted niece, and she is exceptional. Lonnie also said she agrees with that. She went back to school in 2019 to finish her Bachelor of Science. She's now in school for MS. Not much of a social life, but it's an investment in your future. Absolutely agree, Lonnie. Yeah. And good luck and congratulations to you, friend. Okay, I guess over to our reminder. Well, actually, first, who's our big winner?
Unequivocally, without a doubt, well deserved. Taryn, you want to say it?
It's Josh.
Yeah,
the man in the hat.
There we go.
The man with the
Congratulations,
hat.
Josh. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Josh.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all the people that helped make this possible.
So, Josh, we're off to our reminders now. You are the big winner. You will be the host next week.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
It is accepted.
This is a quick reminder that Thursday is our roundtable show. Make sure to tune in for your content. We'll be putting a call for content out this week. If you have blogs, videos, anything that you are doing, let us know. We would love to feature you. Sequel Bits is coming up. I've got 2 sessions there. It will be in Wales, but remember it is online and it is you can attend there completely remote. So if you are here in the US and you can't make it over to Wales to be able to enjoy this, then go ahead and sign up and you can join us online. Myself and Patrick LeBlanc will have a session, the greatest Azure service that you've never heard of. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'd love to tell you what it's about, but you're going to have to show up to find out. I've also got another session I'll be doing, soft skills, each tech skills for breakfast. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else? Any other reminders?
Are there cheese on those soft skills? Or hot sauce?
No.
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 No. You're lucky you already won. That'd be negative points. All right.
But the thing is I could get negative 500 and I would still kick your butt. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
That's the end of this week's show.
That's it.
Life ain't easy, yo. I think there's a reason, though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo.